Hey guys, it's Heather from Boston Girl Bakes, and today I want to show you how to make challah bread. Challah bread is a beautiful braided bread. It's a rich, eggy bread. It's really a great choice if you want to make like a French toast casserole. So today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make this beautiful challah bread in your own home. Okay, so for the first part of this recipe, it calls for making a sponge, which is basically a quick starter for some recipes that, for certain bread recipes that are high in sugar. So it's basically just giving your yeast a head start. So for this, we're gonna be mixing our flour, our water, our yeast together. So to start, I have 4.5 ounces of flour here, basically 1 cup. I like to measure out my flour for bread recipes in ounces, that way I know I have the exact amount. So here's 4.5 ounces. I'm also going to mix with that just 1 cup of lukewarm water. And then we're going to be adding to it our 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. So there's 1 teaspoon. And there's our 2nd teaspoon of instant yeast. And you want to make sure you're using instant yeast for this recipe. We're just going to give this a stir and combine it all together, and then we're going to let it sit for 45 minutes. Okay, so I have let my sponge sit for 45 minutes, and I've actually just added it now to my bowl of my stand mixer. Now to this, I'm going to add the rest of my dough ingredients. So I'm going to be adding 3.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Also going to be adding 1/3 cup of sugar. And this is 1 3/4 teaspoon of salt. And I've also got 2 eggs and 1 egg yolk to this, and these are large eggs. Just get all that in there. There we go. So now I'm going to put this into my stand mixer with my dough hook attachment, and I'm going to go ahead and let knead the dough until it's nice and smooth and supple. So I've got all the ingredients now in my stand mixer with my dough hook attachment. I also forgot to mention that I also added 1/4 cup of oil, so that's pretty important. So make sure you add that to your bowl, and you just go ahead and turn your stand mixer on. And there you go, and you're gonna let your dough all come together and let the stand mixer knead the dough until you have a nice, smooth, supple dough. Okay, so done kneading. I kneaded in my mixer on a medium to a medium-high setting. For me, that's a 6 in my KitchenAid stand mixer. And I did this for about 10 to 15 minutes. Remember, you can always add a little bit more flour if you find your dough's a little bit sticky. You know, just go sparingly at first. I added maybe a couple of tablespoons more of flour till it got started to come away from the sides of the bowl. So now I put it into a clean bowl that I just lightly sprayed with a little bit of cooking spray just to get it a little bit oiled. And then you just want to go ahead and turn your dough over just so it gets coated in your cooking spray. And you're going to let this rise now for 1.5 hours. It could take a little bit longer. You're looking for it to double in size. So if you have a cold kitchen, it might take a little bit longer, but otherwise it should take about 1.5 hours. All right, so as you can see, the dough has definitely doubled in size. So now I'm just going to put this onto my lightly floured counter, and we'll start braiding and getting the dough ready. I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of flour down. So I'm just going to fold this over a couple of times to deflate it. Just get out some of that excess air. I'm going to divide the dough into 4 equal portions. We're going to do a 4-stranded braid. If you wanted to do a 3-stranded braid, you would just divide it into 3 equal pieces. There we go. So we got our 4 equal pieces that we're going to roll into a log for each of these. So you're going to roll these about 18 inches. I'm just going to take it and kind of fold it over on itself to kind of get the basic shape going. And I'm going to just start rolling it out. I start in the middle, kind of work my way towards the ends, kind of going with a tapered end, since that will be where the braid comes together. I'm going to keep rolling this into an 18-inch log, and I'm going to do the same with the other 3 pieces. All right, so we have our 4 strands here ready to get braided for our challah bread. Now they're all equal length, and I've got it on a piece of parchment paper on a cookie sheet because it's going to do a second rise after this. So I'm going to just take the ends here and kind of bring them together. All right, and I'm just going to, you think about this as being numbered, so this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and every time I move one, the numbers then would change, but this way I keep it, hopefully make sense then for you as we go along with the braiding. So I'm going to start here with strand number 1, and I'm going to go over 2 and 3. Just bring it over. I'll kind of move these ones a little bit out of the way. So now this number 1 has become my number 3. So it's 1 over 2 and 3, and then it's strand number 4 is going to go over 2 and 3. So I'll go over that. You don't be afraid to obviously adjust as you go here, especially at the start of it. I'm just going to space them out again, and then we're going to do 2 and 3 over each other. So 3 goes over 2. And that's the general braid that we're going to keep doing every single time. So it'll be 1 over 2 and 3, 4 over 2 and 3, and then 3 over 2. So I'm going to go back to now my new number 1 strand, and I'm going to go over 2 and 3 again. And then I'm going to take number 4 and go over 2 and 3. And then take 3 and go over 2. And now you can start to see where it's starting to come together in that classic challah braid. So keep going. So 1 over 2 and 3. You kind of want to make sure it's staying about the same width. It might start to narrow on you, so you can just keep making sure that you're looking back at it and making sure it's staying the same width. So we've got 1 over 2 and 3, and we'll go 4 over 2 and 3, and then the last little bit of 2 and 3 over 2. And then we just tuck the ends on both of these. All right, and there's your classic challah braid. And we're just going to put an egg wash on this. So this is just a little bit of the egg white. Remember, we had an egg white left over from the egg yolk that went into the recipe. And there's a little bit of sugar and a little bit of water. So I'm just going to brush this on. And this is going to help to eventually crisp up the crust and get that kind of nice golden color that we are looking for on our challah bread. All right, so there's my egg wash. Now I'm just going to put a piece of plastic wrap that has been sprayed with a little bit of cooking spray. I'm going to place it over that. We're going to let this rise for another hour. All right, so at this point the bread has risen again for another hour, so I'm going to just take the plastic wrap off, and I'm going to brush it with its final egg wash. And at this point, if you wanted to, you could add poppy seeds or sesame seeds to it, and egg wash would help and kind of act as the glue for that. But I'm just going to leave it plain, and then we're going to bake this in a preheated oven at 375 for about 35 to 40 minutes. And here you go. Here is your finished product. Here is the beautiful challah bread with its braid, and I cooked it to an internal temperature of 200 degrees. So there you go. I hope you have the confidence now to bake your own challah bread at home.